Go.
Okay, so pretty much what I wanted to do with you guys today was go over the lore, the history of the world that you guys are going to be taking part in. Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Hey, man.
All right. So, you know how I said I wanted to be all cinematic with this?
Yeah.
I'm gonna kind of strain to do an old narrator voice just to make this all big and fantastical.
Of course.
So, oh god, and of course somebody types in the chat saying they're almost home.
Ooh, biped in the bap. Oh. Mary's right
You know what?
here.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna start. Welcome to the world of Aurea, an ancient world where magic reigns over the masses. Time moved forward, and technology began to grip the world. The 3 continents. I should probably have my map open for this. Bleh. The 3 continents of the world exist in an endless war. Erebos, the magic-infused western continent. Here, technology has yet to sink its teeth. Magic reigns over the land and runs free through the ground. In the eastern continent of Centivath, technology has rooted itself in modern culture. Airships are built, robots wander the land, drills dig for the natural resources. They progress forward. The 2 in an endless cycle of combat, a war, to claim the land and choose who is right. Do the ways of the old world or the new world reign supreme in this land? After hundreds of years of civil war, a peace accord was struck. Now, magic and technology live in a strained harmony. Neither side allows the other to move. It is an odd balance. But one person wants to set aside and ruin the balance for the world, setting a new discord. In the northern continent of Morrigan, a group known as the Old World has set aside to change the shape of all of existence. Fusing magic and technology, they tap into the power of the Elder Gods and the Eldritch to send forth horrors and terrible blights upon the land, creating civil unrest, murder, chaos. Your party, who, obviously, we're going to meet at a later time, will be brought forth to set upon the lands of Morrigan and end this terrible plague, to save all that is just and restore balance to the world. So pretty much what I'm running with is old world magic and new world technology are pretty fucking chaotic, and some dude up in the north is like, hey, fuck it. And he's basically channeling, like I said, Draco, Eldritch, all-being cosmos god thing. He's trapped one of the old world gods in a mechanism and is essentially channeling old world magic through technology to essentially nuke both of the other continents. Like, we're talking rifts and tears in time-space, portals to the underworld opening, monsters being summoned, demons, robots being hijacked, people getting plagues and sicknesses across the land. Like, shit got real. And it's... no side really knows which side is causing this. Like, they're doing this from a disclosed location. They haven't really revealed themselves to the world, so it's causing the old peace treaties to break down. So essentially, when you guys are going to be starting the world, when you're starting the campaign, you're starting into a world where war is breaking out. Like, we're talking Aurea's World War II kind of thing.
God damn.
There's going to be war, unrest, distrust. Magic users who see technology are going to shun you from a distance. Technology users who see magic are going to openly, like, refuse you service. Like, the world is essentially in civil chaotic unrest. It's a very hostile world. And I know Odiman fucking loves it.
I think you just made zero nut.
I am squealing so hard you only dogs can hear it.
What a nerd.
Hey, Bo.
Oh.
Hold up.
Cool, that's your date, man.
Tiring.
So, what's going to be really cool about this world is you guys are going to be, obviously, a neutral party. But you're going to have access to a lot of the world's technology and magic. When you're traveling across the continent of Erebos, you're going to have access to magical items, scrolls, what have you. If you ever need to go to Centibath or Morrican, boats, airships, planes, portal technology, what have you. The main campaign, like the vast majority of the chunk of the story, is going to be taking part in Erebos and Centibath. You guys aren't going to get to Morrican until like a 10th or 11th level, because obviously end campaign. How many of you guys have seen the map?
Yes.
Seen it?
Okay, well I'm gonna quickly post the map in the chat again, just so you guys can have a visual representation of what I'm talking about here.
The map is thin.
There we go. Or yeah. I know it's pinned, but it's just easier for the people who are here to see this. So what you guys are going to have is travel among Erebos and Centibath. You see that mountain range right in the middle of Morrican, though?
Yeah.
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 Mount Vedu. That's where the big bad is essentially going to be situating themselves.
The big scary.
Because Vedu is, in this world's lore, it's essentially so Vedu is actually an active volcano.
So it's basically Mount Doom.
Yes.
It's basically Mount Doom if Mount Doom harbored an actual living, breathing Eldritch god. Like we're talking not just like active volcano. Like there's an ancient demonic being sleeping in that shit, and that's what they're tapping into.
Wasn't that also Sauron from Lord of the Rings, or was he something else?
No, Sauron from Lord of the Rings was. It was a big murder eye.
He was
Yeah,
also a
just looked
Maya,
at you.
not a god. He was a
Yeah, Sauron wasn't a godlike entity. It was just some dude possessed by the ring who had access to sorcery. He didn't reside in Mount Doom. He just kind of protected it because he knew that's where all the rings could be destroyed. This Eldritch god, we're talking like, think several 100 feet of burning lava-like salamander, Eldritch necromantic demon kind of thing.
Dude, that's sounding so much like my story in the book. Except this demon thing is in, like, yours is in a mountain, while mine's in the center of the planet. That is just, wow. Like, seriously, it's so much parallel to mine.
Are we gonna have to kill that thing?
I want
Well,
to make it
That's
canon
why I was saying Mount Vedu in this world's language stands for the heart of the world. The old world, when they were still cartographing and mapping and everything, they found Mount Vedu on Morrigan, and it's a big mountain. Like we're talking Everest-sized mountain here, with a volcano that seemingly reaches to the heart of the world. Like it goes down.
I'm back.
Kinky.
I'll come back. Like, it goes down a ways. So they named it the Heart of the World because they thought it was essentially a bottomless pit that led to hell, pretty much. There's a lot of lore. I've basically added lore to every town and every little inch of the map and every like I said, I've been writing this story for like 4 fucking years. Like, I've put detail into this shit. And because I can't draw for shit, a couple of the DMing websites and the cartography websites I belong to, like I said when I was talking to Odiman, I didn't draw this map. A good friend of mine who's also a DM drew this map as a cartography thing for a DM website. I'm pretty sure like 5 other DMs in the world are using this map right now, but I got permission to use this as well as several town maps, dungeon layouts, overworld maps. Like, there's going to be a map for every given situation. You guys are going to enter a town, you're up on an open plain, rivers, caverns, dungeons, what have you. I've got a folder with like 350 different map layouts all set outside for this. And I have obviously gotten permission for everything I'm using here. I've contacted everybody. Just because I can't draw for shit. But, yeah, I've put an ungodly amount of effort into this.
It feels like you should write a book series with this.
Maybe. What I really wanted to do, though, was give you guys a believable, breathing, feeling world that you can immerse yourself in. And that's why the character creation process was so important, is because if you are hearing this world and understanding the lore, the logic, the layout of the land, what I wanted was characters that could live and breathe in this world. I wanted characters that would feel... Like, obviously, Dungeons & Dragons characters, the players have complete freedom, and they're allowed to feel as out of place as they want. But in a world this bizarre, nothing is too out of place. If something pushes beyond the limits of what the fuckery, I try to justify it, but it's hard. Like, Mayor, I'm gonna pick on you here, but a sentient block of cheese would not exist in a world like this. I'm sorry, I can't.
I mean, there is a way, but it's going to be a little bit, like, off.
Okay, hear me out. The way it would work is if you used a magically infused machine to rip the dude's soul out and place it into a block of cheese. What was the ground rule for this world, though? Magic and technology don't really exist in harmony. They're at constant war, which means there would be no mage willing to loan his magic to a technothargic. I can't even my own words right now. There would be no mage willing to loan his magic to a techie, and there would be no techie who would willingly take magic into his tech.
A lot of nerds just adjusted their glasses and they don't know why.
Like the only machine in the world that would exist in any comprehension to make a sentient block of cheese would be in Morrican. But Morrican is the northern lands. It's a war-torn country. Each of these 3 continents has its own ecosystem, its own peoples, its own beliefs, religions, gods, what have you. They're 3 separate entities in the world. And if we were to give it, if we were to equate it to something, I assume y'all know at least a decent amount about, Full Metal Alchemist kind of thing?
Yes.
So, Erebus and Centivath would be, the Warring Kingdoms kind of thing, and Morrican would be Briggs, up in the north, not welcoming anybody. You go anywhere near that shit and you are shot dead on sight. It is a hostile country.
So, like North Korea?
God damn it, I was gonna say that.
I mean, rude, but yes.
It's technically true.
It's okay, they'll shoot them in the face, so...
Anyway,
Because the thing about the 3 continents, Erebus is a really magical continent. its gods, its old world beliefs, and its religions, magic literally flows through the ground in Erebos. It's a magically infused world. Centivath, it doesn't. It was a pretty barren country, so they really gripped technology to help move the country forward. Crops, farming, what have you. It's a very technologically forward country because they needed it. Morrican doesn't use technology or magic. It's like Vikings, essentially. They rely on war, pillaging the other two continents, brutal warfare, conflict. Like they rely on the concept of war and violence to exist.
Well, hold on. If they do that, what's stopping the magic country and the technological country to, go to them, since they essentially should be more powerful than the Vikings that have no magic nor technology?
Because they hate each other.
Because the one special thing about Morrican is it's the only continent where for some reason gods take physical form. In Erebos and Centivath, the gods have essentially left the land. They watch over it, there's still the old world religions and beliefs, but like with the gigantic volcano salamander thing, there are literally titans, gods, giants, and other mythical beings walking around Morrican protecting the continent. Like, up on the very tip, the northwestern peninsula, up like that little hanging bit on the map, there's literally a gigantic bird made of solid ice.
Ooh.
Is it?
It's an old world god that watches over the Blood Sea in the Northern Ocean.
Articuno.
Like Morrican is a land where gods exist. That's why they haven't really drawn to magic or technology in particular, is because if Erebos is a magical country that's not overly religious, they believe in old world magics and everything, and Centivath has essentially moved forward, forgetting religion, forgetting magic, they're embracing technology. Morrican is the religious peninsula of the world. Because gods take physical form up there, they essentially run the country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you guys get to Morrican, that's why I said it's the late game. When you get to Morrican, you're going to be fighting titans and big fucking monsters. And there's... Like, I'm going to spoil something here for you guys. I was going to keep it, but it's kind of cool and it's related to the lore. One of the gods I'm actually going to have you fight is a walking fucking mountain. So, like... Shit gets real up there. Do you think anybody from the other two continents wants over there when shit gets real?
Okay, you have a point.
Can you poison a mountain?
Well, no, this thing is made out of rock. What can you poison a rock?
My character's fucking useless in this situation.
It's basically like trying to poison a rock golem that could destroy the entire world.
It was a whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's why you guys aren't going to be up there until, like, 10th or 11th level. Because in most D&D campaigns, when you hit 10th level, your health will peak into the triple digits. And you will need triple-digit health to survive the Morrican outlet. To survive the Morrican outlays. Like, the Badlands, you guys are going to land on the eastern side of the continent. Like, you're pretty much going to go from Centivath through the Cursed Sea, keep in mind, the Cursed Sea, to land on the eastern part of the continent and move west from there. And that whole trek is gonna kick you in the ass.
I can imagine.
So...
Man.
Like, I kind of hope you guys enjoy the story that I've put together for you. Like I said, I've been writing this for years. You guys are going to be the first group to really jump into this. And with that, I actually have to keep in mind one thing right now. I'm going to give you guys an offer. If you don't like the story, the campaign, or anything right now, you have the option to jump out at any time. If you do want to invest yourself in this world, stick around, because I promise you, it gets cool.
To tell you the truth, it sounds like the way you make the sound of late game sounds terrifying. Yet my gamer sense is saying I really want to go there and attempt. Like here, I gotta specify, attempt to kick some ass.
You just want to kick a mountain in the shins.
Yes,
I
I do. That sounds awesome, but terrifying.
I want to go to there and poke the mountain with a stick.
Like, if I had to equate it to something in another game, the god, like, the mountain god, essentially, is akin to the Adamantoise in Final Fantasy 15.
Or
You know,
maybe
that giant fucking mountain that takes 8 real-world hours to kill? It's basically that. Just not a turtle.
I actually killed the Adamantoise. It actually took me 3 hours, but I did it.
You know what I mean, though. It's a gigantic mountainous being, except the one in this one's not a turtle.
Actually, there's actually a better one in Final Fantasy. There's Titan. That's kind of a mountain god.
Yeah, kind of. But the one thing that I think is going to really jump some people's jimmies is you guys remember the tarantula I had a little while ago that died, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote her into the story.
Aww.
That's why it's kind of heartfelt for me, is I wrote her into the story.
Aw.
And she is a god in Morrigan.
So,
She is a several stories tall arachnid god.
Yes.
Okay, question.
What's up?
Do we fight her? Like, is that like a thing, or is
Okay,
that an option?
not all of Morrigan's gods are hostile. In fact, most of them aren't. The only reason that Morrigan's getting really out of balance is because the machine that's using the Cosmos god, the machine that's using big ol' fucking volcano salamander dude, that's literally throwing the world out of balance. It's poisoning the grounds. It's messing with cosmic devices, and because of that, it's fucking with some of the other gods. Morrigan's gods protect its people. They always have. That's why it's really hard to invade Morrigan, is because they don't generally hurt people, but their whole existence on the continent was to drive away invaders. But now, several of them, not all of them, some of them are still conscious and intact of their awareness, but several of them have lost connection and are on a rampage. Like the mountain god that you guys you don't have to, but if you want to, it's a possible encounter that you may end up fighting. That thing is going on a berserk rampage because it's lost its mind. Like that's what the god machine is supposed to do. He's trying to rein in godly entities to unleash on the other continents. He wants to literally throw the creators of the world at people.
Okay, like I know we're eventually going to fight the guy who, like, is causing this. Is he powerful in a sense?
He built and fueled he built a machine and fueled it with his own magic that's capable of trapping and essentially destroying the minds of gods. You tell me.
Okay, all right.
Yes, he is one of the single most powerful people on any of the 3 continents. I'm giving away too much of the story right now, and it's not fair.
You're the one who wanted to say that a mountain god is going berserk, so...
I mean, can you blame me? I spent so much time on this story, and it's so cool, and I know it makes Odiman nut.
Yes. I have been continuously nutting
Say that.
into a small cup.
You sound so calm while saying it.
I mean, you try
Oops,
being alarmed
welcome.
after nutting for like an hour.
Hi, peeps.
Welcome back. You didn't miss much. I did a lore reveal. I did this whole like narrative voice thing, and I made it all epic and grand and Odin nuts constantly,
And zero.
pretty much he's got the voice recording if you want to listen to it. Otherwise, I can just do it again. For anybody that did miss it, I could go over the lore again, but pretty much I was just trying to integrate, like, I was trying to tell people about the world so that character creation might be a little bit easier. You know, integrate a character that fits in the concept of the world and let you guys know the war and continents and shit, like Mya.
We're gonna fight a mountain.
I really can't wait to do that. It was like, I want to, like, try to fuck up this mountain god.
I don't know.
So-
My Discord.
When I said the dude's the size of a mountain, I didn't mean like an Everest-sized mountain. Like, if you're in a town surrounded by hills, kind of thing, the smaller mountains that like surround valleys, kind of thing. Like it's
Malphite?
big. It's big, but it's not unreasonably big.
Why the fuck are we gonna fight Malphite? I'm not a goddamn later.
I can't poison a fucking hill.
I will give that mountain a purple nurple.
Sorry, you can't poison hell.
Peeps, do you want me to go over the lore of the world so you can understand what the fuck is happening?
Someone can catch me up whenever I'm home, because right now I'm just leaving work, so you're good right now.
I'll do that.
Okay, well, Odiman will give you the full recording, but I'll TLDR it for you. Magic, tech, civil war, peace treaty. Some dude was like,
Magic
"Nah, fuck."
the Gathering rules, got it.
Magic, tech, civil war, peace. Some dude was like, nah, fuck that. Couple hundred years later, built a machine, making gods angry. He's basically instigating war again.
Actually, none of
Magic the Gathering rules, got it.
Pretty
Train
much.
Mix, got it.
Pretty much.
I cast purple nurple on your god.
The way you made it, like, he's like making the guys angry, it feels like he's pumping so much testosterone inside them to make them extremely aggressive, like godly testosterone.
Okay, so the way the gods work is, you know how I said they take physical form in Morrigan?
Yep.
That's because their entity, their very being, becomes tethered to the ground. They anchor themselves in the world, which means all of their physical entities, their godlike powers, everything becomes rooted in the ground around them. That's why Morrigan is a very plentiful country. It's because gods are literally pumping their energy into the ground around them. What this guy's machine is doing is, for any of you who have seen Hercules, you know the fate scissors, how they kind of like cut the scissors and everything dies away?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what this guy's machine is doing. He's literally cutting away the gods' tethers to the world. So they're trying to exist, but because their tethers are being constantly severed, they're losing focus on themselves.
No. I just realized that's like when an astral dragon. I don't know which edition that explained this, but when an astral dragon gets stuck in regular planet existence, it goes mad and insane. It's like
It goes batshit crazy. When it doesn't have connections to both realms, it goes batshit crazy. That's essentially the gods here. They exist in both realms. They exist in the gods realm and the physical realm, but because the gods realm is being cut away from them and they're stuck on the physical plane, they're going batshit crazy. It's essentially 3.5e Astral Dragons, but with godlike entities.
Well, technically, I don't know how to explain it. It's like it said like some elder or ancient dragons can be as strong as the gods, but I don't know which edition said that.
You're thinking Eldritch Dragons. Those exist in the Underdark, and that's 3.5e.
Okay.
And fuck those things.
Excuse me, did someone just say Tiamat?
Fuck you and your Tiamat bullshit. Tiamat needs to suck a dick.
She can suck 5, my dude.
She can. And then she can spit instead of swallow with 5 different fucking elements.
Yes.
Like, Tiamat's a scary bitch.
Yes. Favorite monster?
Sans.
Wait, no,
She
actually,
would.
I have another favorite monster.
She
But
would
you'll
be your
probably be
favorite.
like, shut up, demon. I'm gonna say it anyway. The Tarrasque.
Oh, fuck no.
You would.
What's a Tarrasque?
A Tarak is basically like a world ender that sleeps in the center of the. It was in edition 4. They mentioned it in edition 4. When I read this thing, it's like, what the fuck is this? Like this is bullshit. I don't
It's
wanna
essentially a world-ending godlike entity that's constantly slumbering. But if the party ever comes across one, think like. Okay, how many of you guys have played Final Fantasy?
Me.
No.
Like the older Final Fantasies.
I did.
Okay, the Tarrasque is essentially like, if you were to equate it to something in Final Fantasy, Mega Bahamut
Oh my.
or Neo Bahamut. Like, it could just snap its fingers and end the world at any time.
Well, it doesn't
It's
really have
just raw
thumbs or
power.
fingers. It's like if you give a dragon like something, basically that, but more powerful.
The Tarrasque isn't actually that much of a challenge if you know what you're doing. The thing is, to permanently kill a Tarrasque, you need to cast Wish. Otherwise, it comes back.
And not a lot of D&D players choose a class or have a party member that can cast Wish.
Plus, Wish has some really high costs.
Yeah, it's one of the only spells in any of the arcanes that, like most spells, you can kind of guide around. You won't have to use arcane focuses or really worry about the cost. But Wish, if you don't have the exact arcane focus and the exact costs to cast it, you are fucked. And the materials that you need to cast Wish are ridiculous. Owlbear feathers, a beholder's eye stalk, eyes of basilisks, fucking purple worm venom, like, it's dumb shit.
Yeah, all those creatures that you just named are very hard to kill if you don't know what you're doing or you're under level.
I mean, the beholder's physically impossible to kill until you're probably 6th or 7th. That dude will fuck you up. And purple worms. Oof. Oof.
I mean, the only thing that's easy to me are the owlbears, but even then, they could, like, do something to you.
Owlbears are strong enough to fucking knock down trees.
And
And
but the beholder is much stronger. You have to know that.
oh yeah, no, I'm totally aware. But there's a reason that the owlbear thing is the first thing I mentioned in Wish's cost. Is because you need, like, fucking 20 owlbear feather.
Oh shit!
And we're not talking, like, kill one owlbear and pluck its feathers 20 times. Like,
I know how it works. I know how it works. It's like either if you get lucky, you might get maybe 2 feathers off of one owlbear, but that's if you're lucky.
well, no, owlbears have one thing known as the root feather. It's like a differently colored feather that's tied into the owlbear's body. It's a unique drop. It's something that you can get from looting owlbears, but you're likely to get 1 or 2 per owlbear, meaning to get enough of the feathers to cast Wish, you're gonna have to kill several owlbears. And the only way to get that many, especially if you want to get, like, monarch bears, is to go to an owlbear nest. And that's fucking dangerous. Because then you're surrounded by them as well as monarch bears.
So I'm looking at the 5th edition rules, and apparently Wish has been neutered by a lot.
They nerfed Wish? What?
Says here, okay, well, Wish is not that nerfed, but at the same time, the side effects are just the stress of casting this spell to produce any effect other than duplicating another spell weakness to you. After enduring that stress, each time you cast a spell until you finish a long rest will cause 1d10 necrotic damage per level of that spell. This damage can be reduced or prevented in any way. In addition, your strength drops to 3 if it is in 3 or lower already for 2 days of 4 days. Dice of 4 days. For each of those days that you spend resting and doing nothing more than like activity, your remaining recovery time decreases by 2 days. Finally, there's a 33% chance that you are unable to cast Wish ever again if you suffer this stress.
Dude, they rewrote Wish and made it terrifying.
Yes, but at the same time,
Okay, maybe we don't need a spellcaster that can cast Wish.
I mean, all the side effects are for the caster.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if we probably might need a caster that's able to cast Wish, but it's like an option. It's like a last resort.
Well, I don't... Like I said, this is a homebrew campaign, which means I'm going to be using some actual D&D monsters and everything, but a lot of it is hand-created templates and monsters that you wouldn't normally find in normal D&D. Because in normal D&D, you don't have giant walking mechanisms and... It's, like, robots and robotics don't exist in D&D formal, so...
Yeah, I mean... Wish is so rare. It basically sometimes can be a game changer. According to
it's like being able to cast Holy in Final Fantasy. Like, if you can do it, fantastic, you win. If you can't, fuck.
Not so much. I mean, right now it's been nerfed, so you can create one object of up to 25,000 gold pieces in value that isn't a magic item. The object can be no more than 300 feet in any dimension, and it appears in an unoccupied space you can see on the ground. You can allow up to 20 creatures that you see to regain all hit points, and you end all effects on them, describing greater restoration spell. You can grant up to 10 creatures that you can see resistance to a damage type you choose. You can grant up to 10 creatures you can see immunity to a single spell or other magical effect for 8 hours. For example, you could make yourself and your companions immune to a Lich's Life Drain attack. You undo a single... This is the most powerful one if you know how to use it. You can undo a single recent event by forcing a reroll of any roll made within the last round, including your last turn. Reality reshapes itself to accommodate the new result. For example, a wish spell could undo an opponent's successful save, a foe's critical hit, or a friend's failed save. You can force a reroll to be made with advantage or disadvantage, and you can choose whether to use the reroll or the original roll. And of course, the house rule, you might be able to achieve something beyond the scope of the above examples. State your wish to the DM as precisely as possible. The DM has great latitude in ruling what occurs in such an instance. The greater the wish, the greater the likelihood that something goes wrong. The spell might simply fail, the effect you desire might be only partially achieved, or you might suffer from some unforeseen consequence as a result of how you worded the wish. For example, wishing that a villain were dead might propel you forward in time to appear when that time is no longer alive, or it might turn them into a lich, effectively removing you from the game.
Yeah. As far as the whole campaign goes, a lot of this is going to be homebrew rules, classes kind of thing. Like, for example, I mentioned this on the first day. Peeps, you weren't here, but I mentioned this on the first day. The campaign is going to be... It's not going to be experience-based. So you won't earn experience from encounters or anything like that. It's going to be... The party as a whole will level up based on milestones, depending on how you interact with the world, what you do, the things you do, whether you fight, whether you talk, how you interact with the world. I'll award the party experience as a whole, which will be used to level you up. In addition, whatever weapons you start with, that's... Draco, this is another reason why I said start with 1, not 2. Is because you guys will each get 1, or depending on your class, if you're a rogue kind of thing, maximum 2 weapons to start with, and these will be known as legacy weapons. They start out with the base stats, but as you progress through the game, Zero's already been working on this with me, there are going to be milestones, NPCs, and everything, where you can pay to upgrade legacy weapons. The upgrade feature won't be available for all weapons, but for your legacy weapons and your legacy armor, this will come really in handy. Like, a great example, one of my favorite characters to play in D&D is, I use a homebrew class called the Silvertongue. He uses Katars, punching daggers. If I was to put him into the world, he'd have his 2 punching daggers to start. He'd have his 2 Katars. At the first milestone, I would pay to have them upgraded so they would deal an extra dice of damage. And you get these milestones, like, I think a maximum of up to 10 times during the campaign before you hit endgame. So those 2 Katars would be 1d6 damage each in the beginning of the game, and up to 9 or 10 d6 damage in the late game, if you have the gold and the resources to continue to upgrade them. What if you are the weapon? There would obviously have to be some drawback, like claws or teeth or fangs or anything, but you could get augments that would help you to upgrade in the same way as a legacy weapon. Hooves, yeah, you would get augments and things to help upgrade them like a legacy. So for hooves, you'd get studded shoes, leg joints, like things that would make you stronger as you go along. And the really important part about legacy weapons and legacy armor for you guys, and this is why I said we have to do character creation as a group, is because your legacy armor and your legacy weapons don't break. Everything else in the game is going to be running off a durability system, and armor and weaponry can break, but your legacy gear is the only thing that is indestructible. It is essentially enhanced with godlike entities and will never break. That's not to say it can't be dropped, stolen, disarmed, none of that shit. But like if my Silvertongue, the guy I was talking about before, swaps out one of his Katars for a regular dagger, it's silvered, it's upgraded, whatever you have to do, and he punches an acidic slime or anything like that, Katar does damage, doesn't degrade. Dagger does more damage, but takes massive hit to durability. And I keep track of durability for you guys, and this is really important. Like, I'll keep track of the durability for you guys, because gear can break mid-fight. So if you choose to ditch a legacy weapon for more powerful gear in the beginning of the game, and that shit breaks mid-combat, you're stuck using unarmed and improvised strikes, and those deal no damage. Like, a great example, a level 1 weapon that you can use, Polearm Halberd, 1d8 of damage, one of the strongest early games weapons in the game. That shit breaks mid-combat, you're left with a broken stick, which means you either have to do unarmed combat, which is 1 damage, or improvised combat, which is 1d3. Well, 1d4, but it's 1d3. So you're either going to use your inherently weaker legacy gear in the start, or upgrade to better gear with the possibility of it breaking. So a lot of this is going to be resource and item management for you guys. Which is why I want you to be invested in your characters, is why I want you to really care about the campaign, because if something happens to your characters, you're fucked.
All right.
And peeps, were you around when I explained how death works in this game? So you weren't around when I explained death. Okay. So in combat, this campaign, for anybody who wasn't here for the first time and is hearing this for the first time, and Odeman, you might want to record this for anybody who's not here and will need to hear the details.
It is on.
Death in this game works on a down but not out system. If you get downed in combat, before you go into a dying state where you need to roll death saving throws, you go into down but not out. In DNO, you have half movement speed, can't attack or take bonus actions, but you can book it towards an ally who can use their actions for the turn, essentially wasting their attack, their bonus action, whatever, to revive you. This brings you back to a state at minimalistic health. So if I have 10 health, it'll bring me back to a third. Obviously, the numbers are going to get lower as you level up. Like, once you hit 100, you're going to start with, like, 10, to be fair. But it's roughly a third. Once you're back up out of down but not out, you can only be DNO'd once per combat. So the second time you go down, you are officially in dying state. When you're in down but not out, you lose aggro from most things, but if you're unlucky, whatever's attacking you might attack you again. And if you take half of your maximum life while you're in down but not out, you go into dying state. Obviously, there's this is where we get to the base game. 3 saving throws or more than your maximum health and damage and you're dead. But once you're dead, you have 3 options. If anybody in the party knows revival spells or has revival gear, so potions, scrolls, what have you, they can revive you on the spot, but you have a permanent, well, semi-permanent decrease to your health until you have a long rest or you get to a temple to be blessed. You can be dragged around as a corpse until your party gets to a town, in which case you can be revived at a massive cost to the party. Starts at 100 gold and can go up to 1,000 per revival. And gold is sparse in this game, so don't die. And the third option is if anybody has necromantic magic or necromantic technology. Yes, I'm letting you guys choose characters with tech. Keep this in mind. This is a world where guns exist. If anybody in your party has necromantic magic or tech, they can revive you as a pawn. During that time, they control your character. So you still talk as you still interact as you, but they'll control your movement, they'll control your actions. Then once you get back to town, it's like being revived, except at severely less the cost. But with necromantic magic, there comes a cost. If you die as a necromantic pawn or the person who revived you dies, you're done. Permadeath. There's no revival. There's no pass go collect $200. If you are necromantic, you die permanently. This means your character is gone from the campaign, and you have the option to write a new character or step away. But at that point, the character you were playing up until this point, all their gear, items, experience, what have you, is gone in an instant.
So don't die!
For any of you guys who are planning to do anything necromantic with technology or magic, be careful. You have the potential to perma-kill your party members.
I'll be careful then.
Okay. I'm out of time. I have to step away for right now, guys. If any of you have questions about